Hey everybody, Ronnie George here with Heather Matlock. In my eyes, she is the latest and greatest garden district expert, and she's absolutely crushing it right now. She's got multiple listings, she's got multiple listing appointments, as well as some pending properties that she's already closed on in the garden district, and she just became a licensed agent only a few months ago. So I want to thank Heather for taking a few minutes of her time to spend and do a quick interview with me. So Heather, I guess my first question is, why the garden district? Why is that your focus?
I guess I've always kind of loved an underdog, but no, when I first moved here, when I met my husband and I moved into this neighborhood, I loved the houses. I loved the character. I felt like I had come home finally. And every house is so different. Every neighbor is so different. It's definitely not a cookie cutter place. And besides, the beauty and the old houses, it's convenient. It's right in the middle of town. I've gotten completely spoiled to being like 5 minutes away from everything. So I love it a lot.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think the other thing too is it's like just like you said, an underdog. So many people don't realize just how quickly accessed it is, and the value is just ridiculous. Like you can get a huge house for a really really low price.
Yeah. Yeah, for now, but they need to get one now because
Exactly.
after I get done with it,
I was gonna say you're too busy driving those prices up, which is good.
my best.
Well, I mean, that's a lot of things. It's really seemed that it's deterred a lot of people from investing because they really wasn't sure on the direction of it. And so many listings that I would have at the Garden District, people were scared to get in there because they didn't know what they didn't know. So I think that
Yeah.
someone like yourself that only shows the positive side and just how good it really is, it's really needed that advocate that could speak for it, essentially.
Well, one of the things that I did, I started I think about 7 years ago, we redid the Garden District Neighborhood Foundation. It had been dormant for like a decade. And I wanted to start giving this area a shot in the arm, especially with our self-esteem, because people felt bad about themselves living here because everybody else talks bad about us. And we started doing block parties and the tour of homes and everything. And people are once again like proud of the area and the neighborhood. And it's made a huge difference.
Yeah. Well, I think what you're doing is phenomenal, and I can only commend you for the constant effort and passion. Like you have a blog, I guess article website that you had started that the amount of detail that you put into not only your listings but other people's listings is far surpasses what I've ever seen before, and I love it because people that truly love the Garden District, it comes through in your work. And I think that the time and effort that you take to put into each property and show it off, it just speaks for itself. And it just shows that you invest that time in each home, which is a different aspect. Most people focus on buyers and sellers, but you focus on the property, which I think is a whole different approach.
Yes, because when you start looking at our lives versus how old these homes are, it's amazing. The home I live in is 115 years old, about, I think. And when I did the first history on a home, it was this one because I wanted to know who had lived here before me and kind of the story of the house. So I started to do that and just see that, the people that lived here and long and just built this area. And it's so interesting. So on my blog or website, Historic House Hunt, I love sharing the interesting facts I find about the people that lived there before you. And I guess maybe I'm a little superstitious, but I feel like it carries on
Yeah.
something about the house and the good vibes, or I, it's interesting to me.
I couldn't agree more. And especially with that's, you don't find this type of conversation in new construction and new development. Like you don't have this type of conversation. And like you mentioned, cookie cutter neighborhoods and stuff like that. Historic homes really seem to be the ones that carry these type of conversations where people really feel like their home is almost an entity that they really have to take care of.
Yeah, you're kind of more of a steward than a homeowner.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. I mean, I couldn't agree with you. I keep saying that a lot because I just really like your perspective on the whole approach with it. And going into that, I mean, you've done this before. You know, you have a family that was in the real estate industry, and I guess since becoming an agent, when was it that you initially were licensed?
I think it was in March.
Yeah, it wasn't long ago. So March,
Yeah.
you've already closed properties, you've got multiple listings and stuff like that. Um, I guess what made you kind of go with us as the George Group, and how have we actually been able to contribute? Because I'll actually say you're probably one of the agents that I hear the very least from, because I think that you're very self-motivated. And if anything, you just kind of be like, hey, look this over. So you're figuring things out on your own. So it's like, I don't even know what we've even been able to contribute to be able to help, because I think you've had all that vision and all that momentum on your own. Maybe it was just the vessel to actually release it. I don't know.
When I started interviewing brokerages and researching them, because obviously research is a big part of my life, but what attracted me to the George Group was the fact that you are unlike anyone else out there. You have, you think outside the box, and I didn't want to go in and be Susie Realtor that's a carbon copy of everyone else out there. I wanted someone who would give me the free reign to write up histories on houses that nobody else would have thought was a good use of time. Or you have been supportive of my wacky ideas, and I appreciate that. And you've given me great ideas on marketing and other things like that I had no idea about before. So it's much different than it was in my parents' time, definitely, but even much different than a lot of the brokerages around here now, who still make the one-page flyer and post it places, or they just list it in the MLS and leave it.
Yeah.
It's you think outside the box, and you focus on moving the properties, which is what I'm trying to do as well. Yes. So I felt like that would mesh because you were open to new ideas.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that means a lot too, because I think everyone needs something different when it comes from an agent aspect. And it, just like what you said, like you had the ideas and maybe you just needed that kind of subtle guidance and stuff like that. And even just different ideas, because you're already going to do them, because I think you're very, very self-motivated and you'll come up with a lot of ideas. And just like you said, other places might not have been as supportive or been encouraging and stuff like that. And it's like, I want you to push the envelope. I know what you're capable of, and I know you are too. And you see the momentum building. And so it's just really cool to see it all kind of come together and just keep going. So on that note, where do you see yourself here? And maybe, it's only been since March, but where do you see yourself next year, maybe a year or two down the road? What's like, paint a picture of where House Hunter or Heather Matlock's going to be when it comes to the Garden District or just real estate in general.
I feel like I'm getting a good handle on how to balance, making a living and real estate with my love of the area. And so as the year goes on, and in a year, I guess I would hope that I'm, like doing a lot of hands-on things in the neighborhood that are helping bring up value and making it a great place to live, and continuing to attract new families as we need them. And my goal is, just to, it's not just to sell real estate and make money, but to improve the area. From our schools, supporting our schools. I'm very active in my children's schools and the neighborhood schools, and volunteering in the community, throwing some awesome parties and all of that, and just continuing to be a good neighbor and to just use real estate to do that as well.
I love it. I mean, that sounds like a solid, if anything, probably one of the best approaches, because your heart's truly in what you're trying to achieve. So I like that. I think that you're going to do exactly that, and it's going to be really fun to watch,
I do want to make enough money to go on a lot more vacations, though.
Oh, you'll definitely achieve. I guarantee.
So, it's not all altruism.
Well, I guarantee you the effort that you're putting in now is going to pay off tenfold over and over and over. It always does. All it takes is you just got to outwork everybody, and you're putting in the work. And I guarantee you it's going to compound tremendously. So it's going to be fun to watch the shift and it all swap over. So, well, either way, I really appreciate your time. I know that you got to get back to work, and it was really hard to peg you down because you have been so busy, and I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to spend a few minutes with me and do a quick interview.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Ronnie.
I wish you all the best, and chat soon.
Okay. Bye.